You are listening to the Money Machine Podcast with Nicole Mcbee. Real financial conversations and advice on how to get your money right.
Welcome to the Money Machine Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Mcbee. I am here today in the studio with the wonderful, talented, and informational Shaniece Mahone. We're going to be talking about insurance today, all things on how to protect your assets. Without further ado, I will go ahead and let her give you more information about herself.
Hi, Nicole, and thank you so much for having me on the Money Machine Podcast. As you said, my name is Shaniece Mahone. I'm an insurance agent with AAA Insurance, and I do provide services for auto, home, renters, excess policies, anything you need to protect your assets and also provide that peace of mind that your family has total protection.
So Shaniece, early on, let's go ahead and get your contact information because I want to get into the thick of this, and I definitely don't want to forget to have our listeners to reach out to you, and then it'll also be in the notes of the podcast as well. Contact information?
Absolutely. So my office number is 314-514-7888, and my direct extension is 116-6411. And you also can email me at my last name, mahone.shaniece@aaaamissouri.com.
That's the longest extension ever.
I know. Because we have a lot of employees.
Yes.
We're such a wonderful company, so we just keep hiring people.
I was just about to say that. I'm like, the extension is like almost 7 digits. It's almost a phone number.
Absolutely.
So therefore, that speaks to AAA. So tell me about AAA insurance.
Well, AAA Insurance is rated AM Best, and we've been in business for over 100 years. We have over 54 million members. So many people are familiar with our roadside service, but a lot of people do not know that we also provide insurance. We have an outstanding claims department and service, and that's what we pride ourselves on, exceeding our members' expectations.
And so I noticed that you say members and not customers or clients. Speak to us about the process of becoming a member of AAA.
Yeah, so the process is very seamless and simple. Like I said, we have over 54 million members. Everyone that has their insurance with us, we are a membership-based organization, so you would have to become a member in order to have your insurance with us, but I can also quote you without being a member.
Okay, so membership has its privileges.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So the roadside service does provide everything from towing, battery service, lockout service, but then you also get the perks of being a member by receiving all the discounts. So a lot of times when you're traveling, they may say, "Oh, are you a AAA member?"
Mm-hmm.
So you get
I definitely use that one.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. So you get discounts on everything from restaurants, hotels, rental cars, lens crafters, even prescription medication. So it's hundreds of discounts that you get. So and when you talk to me, I can tell you about all of those also.
Excellent, excellent. So insurance. So most people don't understand insurance. So we know that it's mandated in the state of Missouri for you to have auto insurance. But when we get into the comprehensive and collision and deductibles, most people are clueless and they just kind of go along with whatever the insurance rep is saying, or they spend their time Googling it. So help us understand auto insurance.
Absolutely. And that's the very important thing about insurance because, like you said, most people do not know what type of policy they have. Unfortunately, until they have a loss, need to file a claim or unfortunately are in an accident. So that's kind of too late, a little bit, too late to find out what coverages you have. At that time, people will call us and say, "Hey, is this covered or is that covered?" When in actuality, you should be questioning this with your agent at the time of insurance. So what I do, I provide comprehensive policy reviews to my clients and insureds. Goes a step-by-step process of what all the coverages are, what they cover.
Okay.
And it actually assess what your actual insurance need is. You don't want to be overinsured, but you also don't want to be underinsured.
Correct.
So like you said, there are different limits that we provide. And as you said before, a lot of companies, they don't really care what you have. Some of them just want to sell you a policy and sell you anything without you really knowing what it is, how it works, and how it works for you. So that's a very important piece.
Okay, so insurance. I have a teenager, and my car insurance it's so high.
Absolutely.
It is so high. Like I had to pause and close my eyes and remember the day when it was like really, really low, and now it's extremely high. And I also have a teenager that has had multiple accidents.
Yeah.
So tell us how does this how do you get these different rates? How is policies rated?
Okay, so insurance rates are pretty much based off, with AAA, it's based off of your claim, credit, and driving history.
Okay.
So, like you said, with teenagers, we really like to see at least 3 years minimum of driving experience, or you're considered what's called an inexperienced operator. And in that regard, like you said, those inexperienced operators would render a higher premium.
Okay.
But there are different ways that you can offset that premium. So we have what's called a good student discount. If your student has a 3.0 cumulative GPA or higher, that's
Hold on a second. Dominic, do you hear that? 3.0. Please help your mother with her car insurance.
Yes.
Continue. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Absolutely. So that's one thing that you can do. There are different driver training courses that you can take that may also give you added discounts.
Okay.
But again, like you said, those accidents can weigh a heavy factor. But what I do like to tell my younger teenage drivers, especially parents, before you buy a vehicle, the vehicle also plays a very hefty part in your premium. So before you buy your new 16-year-old, 17-year-old, a brand new car, you might want to quote the insurance prior to purchasing the vehicle.
So a sports car would cost more than a compact vehicle.
Absolutely.
What about the color of a car? I've heard some instances a long time ago when I was a very young girl, I wanted a red car and my dad refused because he said red cars were highly prone to accidents.
Right. Well, now we don't ask what the color of a car is.
Okay.
But now that's really because we just ask for the VIN number. And when you plug in the VIN number, that specific vehicle pulls over all the features of that vehicle. But it's really not rated on the car, the color itself, though.
But what about the make? Whether it's a sports car versus a minivan?
Yes, the make, the year.
Okay.
All that makes a difference.
So prior to purchasing a vehicle, you definitely want to have it rated through insurance. You want to call.
Absolutely.
Shaniece?
And that's with anybody that's purchasing, not just your teenagers, but if you yourself are in the market for a new vehicle, I always tell people call and price it first. The insurance. You don't want to pay more in insurance than what the vehicle's worth. You don't want to have a higher premium than what your car note is, because that just doesn't make sense. So anytime you're purchasing a new vehicle or in the market for a new vehicle, you always want to price the insurance first.
So you definitely want to call Shaniece if you're in the market for a new vehicle or your vehicle. Oh, quick, something I wanted to discuss. What about people that have had a lapse in insurance? Completely, I just had a brain moment. And I wanted to bring it up because it was a question that I received when we were announcing that you were coming on. They wanted to understand this experience rating.
Yes.
When they have this lapse.
Absolutely. So what we like to see at AAA is a continuous 12 months of insurance coverage. What that says to us is that you're responsible, that you keep your insurance going, that you pay your insurance on time, and that you protect others just as well as you protect yourself. So anytime you have one lapse, whether it's under 30 days or over 30 days, that's a different surcharge. So a lapse between 1 day and 30 days doesn't weigh as heavily as a lapse over 30 days.
Okay.
And then also if you have multiple lapses within the 12-month period also. So what I like to tell people is you want to keep your insurance at least for 12 months, and then you'll see that you'll receive the best rate.
Okay.
So that's very, very important. Even if some people say, well, I can't afford my insurance, that's why I had to cancel it. Or, something came up and I had to drop it. Before you drop your insurance, you want to call your agent, which I would be your agent. You don't just call and get any customer service representative.
That was going to be my question. Do we just call the 800 number, or can we call you directly?
You call me directly.
Excellent.
You don't call and just get anybody. And I even give out my cell phone number.
Oh, wonderful.
To my clients also, so they can reach me anytime.
And they don't have to remember that long extension
number.
I know. So we get to call you directly if there's a problem.
Absolutely.
And we think that there's going to be an issue with us paying or, needing to drop it, because that's one of the big things is you don't want to have the lapse.
Correct.
Okay.
So even if that means something comes up personally to where you can't afford your current monthly premium, prior to canceling your insurance completely, what you might want to do is just lower your coverages or increase your deductible. That can also get you a lower premium. But what you don't want to do is cancel it at all. Because some people might even say, well, I didn't have a vehicle for that specific length of time. That's why I didn't have insurance. But that still would be considered a lapse. And the reason that insurance companies account for lapses and increase your rates because of that is because they want to know what type of risk you are. Okay. If you have not had insurance for a year, 2 years, or you're up and down with your insurance, they can't accurately determine what type of risk you are. So they do have to, unfortunately, charge a higher premium during that time. But once you've reestablished your insurance history, then you'll see that you'll benefit from the best rates.
Okay, so I had another question from social media. A person wanted to know if they don't have a vehicle for a period of time. So they're going to carpool, or they're going to take Metro Bus or whatever it may be, and they're going to not own a vehicle for 2, 3, 6 months. What should they do as it relates to their insurance?
Okay, so unfortunately in that situation, there's just no insurance need at that point. But once they do have an insurance need to have an auto and have a vehicle and have insurance, unfortunately for that, during that first time, they will be considered in lapse of insurance. Okay. That's just how it is. There's no way around that. And so that's when I come up with a comprehensive policy that works best for you, best for your budget, during that time frame that you can manage and can afford to get back on track, and then to benefit from the best rates at that 12 months.
Excellent. I do understand that. So this part of our segment, we talk about smart money moves. So this is when we ask for your best advice for insurance. Top 3 best practices, smart money moves.
As far as insurance, get your comprehensive policy review. That's the most beneficial thing that I can say to somebody. Like you said, sometimes when you just call insurance, you just say, hey, give me the lowest coverage possible. But then when you get into an accident, you find you don't have enough insurance. And in that event, some people can come after you and sue you for that additional expense that you didn't have covered on your policy. Okay. So number 1, get a comprehensive policy review. Some people like to just go on the internet and get a quote and then purchase insurance online. Okay. And then a month later find out that company jacked up the rates, and they don't understand why. So with AAA, we do all of our underwriting up front. Okay. So that on the back end next month, you say, oh, my insurance went up. Well, a lot of companies don't do their underwriting up front. They do it on the back end.
That's good information to have.
It's absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's definitely a smart money move.
Absolutely. Okay. So that's the advice that I would give.
Any other advice as it relates to insurance?
As it relates to insurance, we're talking about auto, but also on your home.
Yes, we're definitely get ready to move into the homeowner's policy.
Yes, I know there are a lot of renters out there. If you rent, you definitely need a renter's policy. Typically, they're only $10 to $20 a month and can cover all of your contents in your home or in your apartment, whatever you have. But it's very smart to have that, because if you have a kitchen fire, if you have a theft, somebody breaks in, and we live in St. Louis, so it's very, very important to protect your personal property. So that's a very smart money move to have.
Thank you, Shaniece, for those smart money moves. So you actually walked us right into homeowners insurance and renters insurance, and we definitely want to cover that. So we know that there's quite a few renters out there, quite a few homeowners. Speak to us and tell us, how easy is it to get to a renter's policy?
It's very, very easy to get a renter's insurance policy. Typically, the lowest amount we offer is $15,000 on your personal property, and if you already have a policy higher than $25,000, I pretty much match the policy that you already have, but more than likely it'll be at a much lower rate.
So, renter's policy, does that cover if I am outside of my apartment or my home and someone steals my laptop?
It does, absolutely. Okay. There is coverage, worldwide coverage. Say if you're traveling, if you're visiting someone somewhere else, there is definitely coverage for all of your contents worldwide. Yes.
So that's very smart. And I definitely wanted listeners to know that the renter's policy, I'm a big advocate, if you're a renter, that you know this. A long time ago, I had my book bag stolen, and it had my school books in it. And I was like, oh no, I have to purchase books again. And I realized, I'm like, voila, I have renter's insurance.
Yes.
So I can call in this claim. And I was able to, get a check and was able to purchase my books fairly quickly. And went on about my day, finishing my master's degree, and had all my books without having that extra expense of replacing those books.
Yes.
And that, I think then I was 27, 28 years old. So I was like super, super excited about having that renter's policy at that time. Yeah, I'm probably younger than that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's good to have.
Yes. So homeowners insurance. Speak to us about it.
Yes, so homeowners is also very important. Like you say, when you cut the check for the home, you also need to cut the check for the insurance. You do have, if you're escrowing your homeowners, we just get that directly from your mortgage company, so you don't even need to make a payment with me on that if you already have it wrapped up with your mortgage payment. We use what's called replacement costs. So I do an evaluation of your home, and what the replacement cost coverage is, it's the amount that it would take to rebuild your home, say if it were to burn down to the ground and need to be completely rebuilt.
Okay.
That's what your homeowner's policy would be, a replacement cost policy. That's a very good policy to have. We also have very low deductibles on that as well. And then personal liability, that comes with your homeowner's insurance. And so you definitely want to make sure you have that. So if someone comes after you to sue you for anything, somebody trips and falls on your property, if you have a dog and that dog bites someone.
Yes, I wanted you to definitely share that. I preach this often about the personal liability for homeowners. Because there's always someone that's going to slip and fall. There's always going to be someone cut their finger while they're at your home.
Right.
And you have to know that when it's your home, that you're responsible.
Right, absolutely. And people do not understand how it works. And that's where I come into play. I do a step-by-step analysis of what you currently have and then where you need to be. So just because you have a policy, that may not be the policy for you. That may not be the policy you need. So I would help place you, adequately insure you and your family. With that liability, we only go up to $500,000 on the home, and that's where we also have an excess liability policy.
There you go. You walked us right into it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That's a $1 million or a $2 million liability policy. If you have a lot of assets,
Because I wanted to know, how do I protect my Mona Lisa?
absolutely. Yes.
How do I protect my art?
Yes, so that's an excess liability policy. Our $1 million policy is only $175 for the year, so it's very inexpensive. People may not understand or realize how inexpensive it is, but that's when I sit down with you, figure out what your assets are, exactly what you need, and determine what policy would work best for you, also with the excess liability policies.
Okay, so walk us right into life insurance.
Life insurance. I am licensed in life, but I no longer sell life. However, I do have a life specialist, and he handles all the life insurance, also the annuities, which is for extra for your assets and to help you build your wealth, which is very important. So if you have $1,000 sitting around, $5,000 sitting around, you might want to be interested in an annuity.
I love a good annuity.
Absolutely.
I just love it. I think when I went from CDs, I went straight to annuities.
Yes. Yes.
And I was like, oh, yes, I'm so excited.
Yes.
I've never been so excited about saving money. It's just a real odd thing about myself. That's why I am the host of the Money Machine podcast. All things money and building a great foundation and building wealth. In our community. So tell us this excess liability policy. Mm-hmm. So what was the coverage amount again?
It's $175 is the base premium for the $1 million policy.
Okay.
Anything over two vehicles, then there is a certain surcharge, $35 per extra vehicle after the second vehicle. But the base policy is $175 for the entire year. So.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is awesome.
Very awesome.
I don't know what else to say other than call Shaniece over at AAA Insurance.
Call me, but like you said about the life insurance, we have very, very low, excellent life insurance rates. I tell people I have my insurance. I was with a different company. I won't say the name prior to becoming an agent with AAA.
Okay.
And I only had $150,000 in coverage for my term policy. Came over to AAA, let my life representative quote me, and now I have a $500,000 policy for less than what I was paying for the $150,000 policy.
So is that term or whole life?
That's term.
Okay.
So again, it depends on what your need is. Some people need whole life. Some people need term. It depends on your situation. For someone who might have younger children, who might need that term policy because it gives them a higher dollar amount for that 20-year or 30-year term, whereas whole life, you're locked in for the rest of your life, but those are typically at lower limits.
Okay. So I am probably overprotected. So when we talk about an insurance needs analysis, is this something that you go through with each one of your clients?
Absolutely. Each and every single one of them. When it comes to auto and home, you definitely want to go through that needs analysis. And then our life specialist also does the same thing.
Okay, excellent. So give us your contact information again.
Yeah, so it's Shaniece Mahone, AAA Insurance. My office number is 314-514-7888. That long extension is 116-6411. And my email is mahone.shaniece@aaa.missouri.com. Call me, let me quote you, let you speak to my life specialist, and then I also do free gifts too.
Oh, free gifts. Yes, we love free gifts. So, Shaniece, at this point of our podcast, we always talk about financial failures. So, I know it's probably the toughest part of the program, but we know that there's lots of financial failures that occur with life insurance, health insurance, auto insurance, excess liability policies. Insurance is tough to understand.
Definitely.
And most people don't know how much they need, when they need it, what company to go with, whom to talk to when they need insurance. So tell us how to avoid financial failures.
Well, the best thing you want to do is talk to your agent. You should know your agent on a first name basis. You don't want to wait until an accident happens, or you don't want to wait until there's a loss. A gentleman came in today because his wife passed away, but he probably hadn't been in the office or spoke to his agent, in about 2 or 3 years. So it's best to have a relationship.
Okay.
My clients know me. A couple of them came in the office today. They're a new couple. They just moved to St. Louis from Arizona 2 months ago, and they came in for travel. So we also do travel too at AAA. And as soon as they saw me, their face just brightened up, like, "Oh, Shaniece, I was going to come back and speak to you." But that's very important, to have a relationship with your agent, so that if you have a childbirth, your insurance policy probably would need to change. If there's a death, your insurance policy would need to change. If you get a new job, you're more than likely making more money. So in that regard, your policy may need to change also. If you get a bigger house, a new car. So all these different life changes and unexpected, or even like you say, maybe even failures, maybe something happens, you lose a job. At any rate, you want to have that relationship with your agent. So the first thing in your mind is, oh, this happened, let me call and check my insurance.
So definitely, great listeners of the Money Machine podcast, Shaniece Mahone of AAA Insurance. We're talking about financial failures, and I have noticed just people being underinsured or no insurance, and it was one of those big rocks for me is to share as much about insurance as possible, because I think what we don't know, we just kind of avoid.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, well, if I don't know if I have car insurance and I have enough. But as you stated, it's not until you have that car accident and you realize, okay, well, I'm being sued because I don't have enough coverage, or there's a death and there's no insurance.
Right, absolutely. So to speak to that, I like to give this type of example. So for property damage on your auto policy, the state minimum in Missouri is $25,000.
Okay.
The average car on the street nowadays is at least $20,000 if you think about it. So let's say you get into a 2 or 3 car accident, that $25,000 is gone pretty rapidly. So say, for instance, that's what you have, and it's $30,000 or $40,000 or $50,000 worth of property damage. You can hit a street light, a stop sign.
Right.
That's all included in your property damage. So that $25,000 goes pretty quickly. So anything over that, you would have to pay for out of your pocket. And that's where the increased coverage limits come into play. So that's very important to have that comprehensive policy review, just so you can understand how those coverages work for you. And you'd be surprised that even if you increase it just to the very next limit, it's very minimum, probably $10 or less for the total 6 months to increase that limit. So.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's impressive.
Yes.
Good information, Shaniece. We definitely appreciate that. So, property damage, since you mentioned that, let us roll right into that property damage. So, I know that we were just talking about tornadoes and hurricanes as just before the show began. And so, we live in an area where tornadoes are very prevalent. And so, tornado comes by, blows off my roof. What do I do?
Right, you call AAA, we call your agent. I will get you in touch with the claims representative that will take great care of you. Hail damage, windstorm, all that's included. It's different deductibles. You can have a 1% windstorm or hail deductible for your home. But then on the auto side, like you said, we get a lot of tornadoes. We have a lot of hail. Come spring, that's what we get. So your deductibles come into play too. So the $250 deductible, that's the lowest deductible that we offer at AAA.
Okay.
So say you have a hailstorm that would be considered a comprehensive claim. That's anything other than collision is comprehensive. So that's your weather-related, glass-related claims, theft claims. Even if you hit a deer, that's a comprehensive claim. So those weigh heavily. If you have a claim, I don't encourage people to just call and file claim, because what will happen is that your insurance rate will go up. So it's very important that you speak to your agent, discuss how claims work, how they affect you, so it's very important.
Okay. And I hear that a lot. There's people who say, oh, I just want to pay out of my pocket. I don't want to call in a claim. I would just rather take that risk. And then there's people that call and report every single claim for every single thing. How does that impact their insurance?
Again, like you said, with auto insurance and claims, if you call for a claim, it has to be reported, even if there's a zero payout. They have to report that on your what's called a clue report. And that's a report that's shared widely throughout insurance. All companies have access to that clue report. So prior to filing a claim, you definitely want to call, speak with your agent, and see if it's something that you would really need to file. Anything that is less than your deductible, you really want to just pay for that out of pocket.
Okay.
Because if you're paying your deductible and then we pay out less than the deductible, it's kind of pointless. And then that's a claim against you that possibly would increase your premium. We do offer accident forgiveness with AAA.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So if you haven't had a claim in 5 years, then you qualify for accident forgiveness, meaning your first accident, there would be no charge, no added surcharge, no premium increase. That accident will be forgiven.
Excellent information. Super excited. So Shaniece, thank you so much. We've learned so much about insurance. We understand comprehensive, collision. We know about renter's insurance. Everyone, if you rent an apartment or home, you need to have insurance. I think a lot of people go underlooked when they're like, oh, well, we're just a renter. That always kind of just slips by people. Homeowner's insurance, you definitely want to try to avoid some of those personal liabilities. Know that if you have a dog, if it bites your neighbor, your insurance can definitely be impacted. Knowing how to file claims and when to file claims, and nothing else other than having a relationship with your insurance specialist, your insurance rep. Get a relationship. I'm big on saying relationships. Relationships matter.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of times people avoid calling because they're like, oh, that's going to go against me if I call and talk to Shaniece about a claim that I'm not going to file. But as you're saying, Shaniece, that it's beneficial that they call you and have that conversation.
Correct.
Good. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. And yes, please give me a call. Let me quote you and let me see what we can do for you at AAA.
All right. Thank you. It's Money Machine Podcast with your host, Nicole.
You are listening to the Money Machine Podcast with Nicole Mcbee.